The mirror shattered before she could scream. Glass exploded across the white bathroom tiles. Julia stumbled backward, her bare feet slipping on lotion and shards. Her chest locked tight. Because in the mirror, she didn't see her husband. She saw a tail. A long, golden, thick python tail curling slowly behind her. And it was attached to him. Baby? Doha's voice came from behind her, smooth, controlled. What happened? Julia didn't turn. She couldn't. Her breath came in sharp, broken pieces. The bathroom light flickered once. In the reflection, just before the mirror hit the floor, she had seen it clearly. From the waist down, scales. Moving. Alive. Now there was only silence. She forced herself to turn around. Doha stood there in his expensive dark suit. Immaculate. Handsome. Calm. No tail. No scales. Nothing. His hair perfectly styled. His wristwatch glinting under the bright light. Why are you looking at me like that? He asked softly. Her throat closed. I saw, she swallowed. In the mirror. Behind me. You were. He blinked once. Slowly. Then his smile disappeared. It was, he said quietly. Not what was? Not your imagining things. Just. It was. The air in the bathroom turned cold. The temperature dropped so fast goosebumps crawled across her arms. And then, he stepped backward into the shadow near the door. And vanished. Not walked. Not ran. Vanished. Like the darkness swallowed him whole. Julia's knees buckled. She slid down the wall and covered her mouth to stop the scream trapped inside her lungs. Outside, somewhere deep in the forest beyond their duplex, something heavy moved. 2 weeks earlier. Money fell like rain. Phones flashed like lightning. The nightclub roared. Julia's heels barely touched the stage as bundles of cash rained over her head. The stranger, tall, sharp suit, icy smile, kept spraying without blinking. The DJ screamed into the mic, big man alert. We have money tonight. The crowd surged closer. Julia's heart pounded. She had danced her whole life for attention. But this? This was something else. When he finally stopped, he walked back to his corner table like he owned the world. Calm. Controlled. Dangerously quiet. Julia jumped off the stage and ran after him. I haven't seen you here before, she said, breathless, dropping into the chair opposite him. He studied her face like he was memorizing it. My name is Doha. Something about the way he said it, measured, certain, made her spine tingle. She glanced at the suitcase still slightly open. Stacks. Bundles. More money than she'd ever seen in one place. He leaned forward slightly. Will you marry me?
Oh my God, yes!
She laughed. Actually laughed. We just met. It doesn't matter. She stared at him. He opened a small velvet box. The diamond inside caught the flashing club lights and threw them back like fire. Her mouth went dry. Is that real? Yes. He went down on one knee. The club exploded. Phones out. Screaming. Cheering. Julia's pulse raced in her ears. Her brain screamed, this is insane. But her heart whispered something louder. This is your escape. She grabbed the ring. Yes, she breathed. The crowd lost their minds. He smiled. And something about that smile didn't reach his eyes. No family came for him. Not a mother. Not a brother. Not a cousin. People whispered. Where are his people? Maybe they're abroad. But with this kind of money? No one pressed further. Because the decorations glittered. Luxury cars lined the street. The food never finished. And Julia's parents glowed with pride. My daughter is marrying a billionaire, her mother told anyone who would listen. Sonia hugged her tightly. Girl, your life has changed. Only Kem stayed quiet. Later, she pulled Julia aside. This is too fast, Kem whispered. You don't know him. Julia rolled her eyes. You're jealous. I'm scared. For me? Or for yourself? Kem hesitated. And that hesitation planted something small inside Julia's chest. But the music drowned it out. First night in the duplex. The house smelled new. Fresh paint. Polished marble floors. Soft golden lighting. Julia twirled in the living room. You bought this for me? It's in your name, Doha said. She ran into his arms. I love you. He held her gently. Too gently. That night, at exactly 11 p.m., he adjusted his suit. I have to travel to Ghana. She frowned. Now? I have a factory there. At night? Yes. How long? By morning, I'll return. Something about that answer didn't sit right. But she swallowed it. Because the wardrobe he bought her was full. Because the diamond on her finger was heavy. Because the bank alerts kept buzzing. And money can silence questions. Every night, 11 p.m. Every night, Ghana. Every morning, 6 a.m., he returned. Not tired. Not jet-lagged. Perfect. Back to the bathroom. Julia sat on the cold tiles, trembling. Her hands shook so badly she had to press them against her thighs. It was real. The way the scales shimmered. The slow curl of the tail. The weight of it. She didn't imagine that. The bedroom door creaked. She flinched. But no one came in. She stood slowly. Walked to the mirror above the sink. Looked at her own reflection. Nothing behind her. Just white tiles. Marble counters. Silence. Her phone buzzed. A message from Doha. Prepare yourself. We are going somewhere tonight. Her heart slammed. Somewhere? Where? Why now? She typed back with trembling fingers. Where are you? 3 dots appeared. Stopped. Appeared again. I'm home. Her blood ran cold. She was alone in the house. Or so she thought. If your heart is racing right now, if you feel that chill crawling up your spine, hit subscribe. Because what Julia discovers next will change everything. And trust me, you do not want to miss what happens when the truth finally shows its full face. Julia walked slowly out of the bathroom. The hallway lights flickered once. The air felt heavier. She reached the bedroom. Empty. The bed untouched. Closet closed. She stepped toward the window. Outside, at the edge of the property, beyond the fence line where the trees began, she saw movement. Something long. Something golden. Slithering into the darkness. Her breath stopped. And deep in the forest, a giant tree trembled. Julia didn't sleep. Not a second. She sat on the edge of the massive king-sized bed, staring at the door like it might open on its own. The digital clock on the nightstand glowed red. 2:14 a.m. Every small sound felt amplified. The hum of the refrigerator downstairs. The distant barking of a dog. the soft whisper of wind brushing the trees outside. Her fingers clutched the diamond ring so tight her knuckles turned white. You saw it. She replayed the image again and again. The scales. The thickness. The movement. This wasn't imagination. This wasn't stress. This was real. At exactly 6 a.m., the front door downstairs clicked open. Julia froze. Footsteps. Slow. Calm. Unhurried. She stood up. Her heart pounded so loud she could hear it in her ears. The bedroom door creaked open. Doha stood there. Immaculate. Fresh suit. Crisp white shirt. No wrinkles. No sign he'd been anywhere except maybe a boardroom. Good morning, my love, he said softly. His voice was warm. But his eyes, they studied her. Carefully. Did you sleep? He asked. She forced a smile. A little. He stepped closer. The closer he came, the colder the room felt. He touched her cheek. His fingers were freezing. She flinched before she could stop herself. He noticed. His jaw tightened just slightly. Are you afraid of me? He asked quietly. The question hung in the air. Julia swallowed. No, she lied. His eyes didn't blink. Good. He leaned in and kissed her forehead. His lips were cold too. I told you, he said calmly, we're going somewhere tonight. Be ready by 9. He walked out before she could respond. And the silence he left behind was heavier than his presence. Julia grabbed her phone and dialed Kem. Kem picked up on the second ring. Julia? Her voice sounded sleepy. I need you, Julia whispered. What happened? I saw something. Silence. Like, what kind of something? Kem asked slowly. Julia's throat tightened. I saw him. But not fully him. Julia, you're not making sense. In the mirror, she breathed. He had a tail. Dead silence. Julia. I'm serious. Kem exhaled sharply. You're stressed. You got married too fast. It's catching up with you. I know what I saw. Her voice cracked. That scared her more than anything. Because she never cried. Not like this. Kem's voice softened. Okay. Okay. Listen to me. I'll come over. Right now. 30 minutes later, Kem arrived. No makeup. Hair wrapped in a scarf. Breath slightly uneven from rushing. She didn't judge. She didn't laugh. She hugged Julia tightly. Julia didn't realize how badly she needed that until her body melted into it. He disappears every night, Julia whispered into her shoulder. Kem pulled back slowly. Disappears how? He says gonna. And he's back by 6. Every single time. Kem's brows furrowed. That's not possible. Julia nodded slowly. And last night. She hesitated. Kem held her hands. Tell me. He vanished. Like smoke. Like shadows swallowed him. Kem's expression shifted. This wasn't wedding anxiety anymore. This was something else. We're following him tonight, Kem said firmly. Julia blinked. What? You want the truth? Julia nodded. Then we get it. Hashtag 8:45 p.m. Doha walked downstairs adjusting his gold cufflinks. You look beautiful, he told Julia. She wore a fitted black dress. Elegant. Controlled. She smiled faintly. Kem hid upstairs in the guest room, watching through the window. Julia stepped closer to her husband. "Where are we going?" she asked softly. He studied her face. "Somewhere special." He opened the door. The cool night air brushed Julia's skin. They walked to the car. Black Benz. Shiny. Silent. As they drove, Julia watched him from the corner of her eye. His hands on the steering wheel were steady. Too steady. No pulse visible. No warmth. "Doha," she said carefully. "Yes." "Do you believe in spirits?" A slight pause. "Why?" "Just asking." He smiled faintly. "I believe in power." She felt that answer settle somewhere dark. #####, 9:32 p.m. Edge of the forest. The houses disappeared. Streetlights thinned out. Trees grew thicker. Julia's stomach dropped. "This isn't the way to town." He didn't answer. The car rolled to a stop near a massive tree. The same tree she'd seen from the balcony. The air felt heavier here. Thicker. Alive. "Why are we here?" she asked, voice shaking slightly. Doha turned off the engine. Silence swallowed them. He looked at her. Deeply. "Because," he said quietly, "you saw something you were not supposed to see." Her blood ran cold. The door locks clicked. She tried the handle. Locked. Her breathing quickened. "Doha. Relax. I don't want to be here. You are my wife." "That doesn't mean." He turned to her fully. His eyes weren't normal anymore. They glowed faintly. Golden. "You said yes," he whispered. The forest went silent. Completely silent. Not a single insect. Not a single bird. Julia's chest tightened. "You lied to me," she whispered. His expression changed. For the first time. There was something vulnerable there. "I chose you," he said. "That's not the same thing." His jaw clenched. "You wanted money." "I didn't want this." Her voice cracked. He leaned closer. "You wanted escape." Her breath caught. Because he was right. That was the desperate action. She wanted out of her old life so badly she ignored the signs. "You think I don't know what humans want?" he murmured. The word humans echoed. Her pulse spiked. "Get me out of this car," she whispered. He studied her face. And then he unlocked the doors. "Step out." She hesitated. "Now." She stepped out onto the dirt road. The tree towered above them. The wind picked up suddenly. Leaves rustled violently. Kem's car headlights flickered faintly in the distance. She had followed. Good. Then he smiled. And his body began to change. Bones cracked. Skin rippled. His legs fused. Golden scales burst through fabric. His scream twisted into a hiss. Julia stumbled backward. Her heel snapped. She fell onto the dirt. Before her eyes, her husband elongated, expanded, transformed into a massive golden python. Its eyes glowed like twin flames. She couldn't breathe. The snake lifted its head, towering over her. "I loved you," his voice echoed inside her mind. Not spoken. Felt. "I still do." Her tears streamed down her face. "You tricked me. You chose me. His massive body coiled slowly around her, not squeezing. Yet. Your kind always chooses wealth over wisdom. Her chest tightened. Kem's car door slammed in the distance. Julia! Kem screamed. The python's head snapped toward the sound. And in that split second, Julia made a choice. Run, she screamed at Kem. The snake's body tightened slightly. Not enough to break bones. Enough to warn. You would protect her? His voice echoed inside her head. She's my friend. And I am your husband. I didn't marry a snake. The words hit. For the first time. The python recoiled slightly. Hurt. Real hurt. And that's when she realized. He wasn't purely evil. He was something else. Something ancient. Something wounded. If you think this story can't get darker, you're not ready for what happens next. Hit subscribe right now, because the truth about Doha and that tree will shock you. And part 3? It will change everything you thought you understood. The python slowly loosened. But didn't let her go. You saw the truth, his voice echoed. Now you must choose. Choose what? She whispered. Stay. Or leave. Kem was frozen near her car, shaking. If you leave, the python continued, you forget everything. The house. The money. The life. And if I stay? The massive head lowered closer to her face. Then you belong to me fully. Her stomach dropped. What does that mean? The forest trembled. Deep underground. Something massive shifted. And from the roots of the tree, a second pair of golden eyes opened. The second pair of golden eyes blinked open beneath the roots. Julia's breath stopped. The earth shifted again, slow, heavy, ancient. The python around her tightened slightly, not crushing, but reminding. Doha, she whispered, tears sliding down her temples into the dirt. What is that? His voice entered her mind again, colder now. My beginning. The roots of the tree cracked apart. Dirt crumbled. And something enormous began to rise. Not just another snake. Bigger. Thicker. Scales darker, almost bronze. Ancient scars carved across its body like old battle lines. Its eyes burned brighter than Doha's. Kem stumbled backward near her car, hands covering her mouth. Julia, run, she sobbed. But Julia couldn't move. The larger serpent lifted its head high above them. When it spoke, the sound wasn't in Julia's mind. It vibrated in her bones. You chose her, it thundered. Doha's coils tightened protectively around Julia. I did. She is human. She is mine. The massive serpent's gaze locked onto Julia. Her heart pounded violently. You married him for wealth, it said. You would have married any man with gold. Julia flinched like she'd been slapped. That was the devastating revelation. Because it was partly true. Her voice broke. I didn't know. You did not ask. The words cut deep. She hadn't asked about his family. His business. His background. She saw money and ran toward it. And now she was standing in a forest between two ancient creatures. Kem's voice shook in the distance. Julia! Please! Doha's voice softened inside her mind. I offered you escape. Comfort. Power. I gave you everything. You lied, she whispered. I hid. That's the same thing. The larger serpent lowered its massive head closer. Enough. The forest grew darker. Clouds swallowed the moon. The air thickened, heavy like a storm before it breaks. You have seen what must never be seen, the Ancient One said. She cannot return unchanged. Julia's pulse thundered. What does that mean? She asked. Doha's coils loosened slightly, as if bracing himself. It means, the ancient serpent continued, she must join us, or she must be erased. Kem screamed. No! Julia's chest cracked open inside. Erased, she whispered. Memories removed. Life reset. You return to nothing. No house. No wealth. No marriage. Julia's breath hitched. And if I stay? The ancient serpent's golden eyes narrowed. You become what he is. The words echoed. Become what he is. Her mind reeled. You mean, turn into? Yes. The wind whipped violently through the trees. Julia's tears fell faster. Her whole body trembled. Doha's voice entered her mind, softer now. I did not want this for you. Then why bring me here? She cried. Because you saw. He paused. And because I loved you enough to let you choose. That vulnerability confession hit like a blade. He wasn't forcing her. He was offering her a choice. A twisted one. But still. A choice. Kem ran forward despite her fear. Take me instead, she shouted wildly. Leave her alone. The ancient serpent hissed violently. Doha's head snapped toward Kem. Julia screamed, no. In that instant, protective fury ignited inside her. She shoved against Doha's coils, scrambling to her feet. Don't touch her, she shouted at the ancient serpent. This is my mess. The forest fell silent again. Doha loosened completely. Julia stood trembling between both serpents. If someone is erased, she said, voice shaking but firm, it's me. Not her. Kem's tears streamed down her face. Julia, stop. Go back to the car. Julia shouted. Kem didn't move. The ancient serpent studied Julia carefully. You would sacrifice yourself for her? Yes. A long silence. Doha's massive body shifted. She was not like this before, he murmured to the Ancient One. She would have chosen gold. Julia's chest tightened. He wasn't wrong. Not entirely. But she wasn't that same girl now. I was stupid, she whispered. I was greedy. I didn't ask questions because I didn't want the answers. The admission cracked something open inside her. Silent grief washed over her face. She dropped to her knees. I didn't marry you for love, she confessed to Doha. Not at first. The forest held its breath. But somewhere between the lies, I started to care. Doha's golden eyes flickered. You were kind to me, she continued. You were gentle. Even now, you're giving me a choice. Her voice broke. I don't know what you are. I don't understand this world. But I know I don't want my friend hurt. The ancient serpent's head tilted slightly. You would abandon wealth? Julia looked at her ring. The diamond glittered under the moonlight. Slowly, she slid it off. Her hand trembled violently. She held it out. I choose to forget, she whispered. Kem gasped. Doha's body went rigid. You would leave me? His voice entered her mind, almost human now. Tears blurred her vision. If staying means becoming something I don't understand, something I'm not ready for, then yes. Silence. Long. Heavy. The ancient serpent's eyes burned brighter. So be it. The ground beneath Julia began to glow faintly. A low vibration hummed through her bones. Kem screamed and ran toward her. Doha moved instantly, his massive body shielding Julia from the ancient serpent. No, Doha growled. The word was thunder. You said she must choose, he hissed. She has. You said she must join us or be erased. Yes. She has chosen erasure. The ancient serpent's eyes narrowed. And you object? Doha's body coiled protectively around Julia again. Yes. The forest shook. You defy me? The ancient one roared. For her. That was protective fury. Raw. Dangerous. Ancient. Julia's tears streamed uncontrollably. Stop, she cried. Don't fight because of me. The two serpents faced each other, coils tightening, scales scraping against bark and stone. The air vibrated violently. The ancient serpent lunged. Doha struck back. Their bodies collided with a deafening crack. Trees splintered. The ground tore open. Kem dragged Julia backward, screaming. Run! Now! But Julia couldn't move. She watched in horror as Doha wrapped himself around the larger serpent's neck, scales grinding, blood, dark and thick, spilling onto the forest floor. You would choose a human over your kind, the ancient one roared. I chose her, Doha hissed. The ancient serpent tightened viciously. Julia felt something break inside her chest. Stop, she screamed, running forward. Kem grabbed her arm. Julia, you can't. But Julia broke free. She stumbled toward them. Don't do this, she cried. I'll stay. Both serpents froze. The forest fell silent again. Julia stood between them, shaking. I'll stay, she whispered. I won't forget. I won't run. Just stop. Doha's golden eyes locked onto hers. You don't know what you're saying. I know. Her tears slowed. If loving you means changing, then I'll change. Kem sobbed behind her. Julia, no. Julia didn't look back. She stepped closer to Doha. I was selfish before, she said softly. I chose money. I chose comfort. This time, I'm choosing with my eyes open. The ancient serpent studied her. You accept transformation? Julia swallowed hard. Yes. The word echoed. The ground glowed brighter. Doha's coils loosened. You will not be human again, he warned. I know. You will hunger differently. I know. You will never return to your old life. Her voice trembled, but didn't break. I know. Kem collapsed to her knees. Please don't leave me. Julia turned briefly. I'm not leaving, she whispered. But even as she said it, she knew that wasn't true. The ancient serpent lowered its head. Then it begins. Golden light surged from the roots of the tree. It wrapped around Julia's body. Her bones burned. Her skin felt like it was tearing from within. She screamed. Her back arched violently. Her fingers stiffened. Something inside her spine shifted. Doha moved closer. Look at me, he said gently inside her mind. Don't fight it. Her breathing grew shallow. Her vision blurred. Kem's sobs echoed faintly. The world tilted. And just as the transformation began, Julia's body jerked violently. Then, everything stopped. The light vanished. The forest went completely still. Julia collapsed forward into the dirt. Human. Still human. Unchanged. Doha stared. The ancient serpent recoiled slightly. That is impossible, it murmured. Julia groaned softly. Her eyes fluttered open. And they glowed faintly. Not fully golden. Not fully human. Something in between. The ancient serpent's voice lowered. She carries both. Doha's expression shifted from confusion to realization. She is not meant to become one of us, he whispered. The ancient serpent studied Julia again. She is the bridge. The word echoed through the forest. Bridge. Julia pushed herself up weakly. What does that mean? She whispered. The ancient serpent's eyes burned. It means this was never about wealth. Doha's gaze sharpened. It was about her. The forest trembled one final time. And from deep beneath the roots, a third presence stirred. Heavier. Older. Waiting. Julia's glowing eyes widened. What is that? The ancient serpent's voice dropped to a near whisper. That is what has been waiting for centuries. The ground cracked open slightly. A massive shadow shifted below. And Doha turned to Julia slowly. You were never meant to choose between human and serpent, he said quietly. You were meant to wake it. The earth split wider. A deafening roar erupted from beneath the tree. Julia's breath caught. And the screen cuts to black. Part 2 drops soon. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. And tell me in the comments. If you were Julia, would you have chosen to forget? Or chosen to transform? Because what rises from beneath that tree next will change everything.